Hey, what's happening? I'm Ross, and you know I love to talk about anything personal finance or economy, and I'm talking about Larry Bird today. Larry Legend, that's right, Hall of Famer Larry Bird says people used to make fun of him for saving money. Ain't that a. Let's get into this article. Larry Bird remembers when players that later went bankrupt made fun of him for saving his money. They just laugh and make jokes about me stashing my money away. Larry Bird believed in hard work and being smart about money, which is the main reason why he always refused to give money away to players that went broke. So yeah, some of these people that tried to make fun of him, that were laughing at him, I'm sure they were clowning him, trying to make a good sport about it. Yeah, and later they went broke and tried to come to old Larry Legend for money. He's like, nah, I told you guys to save your money. Nah, I'm not giving you nothing. Nothing. I ain't got nothing for you. Nothing. There you go. Old Larry Legend. Many NBA players filed for bankruptcy within 5 years after they retired from professional basketball. And there are numerous reasons behind this unfortunate turn of events in their financial situation. A lavish lifestyle is often the main reason why players go bankrupt, but quite a few times the people they put in charge of their money end up stealing from them, which is also a big problem for these athletes. Poor decision making and trusting the wrong people who manage your money is a recipe for disaster. Yeah, and a lot of people have gotten there. That's not just athletics. That's entertainment. Anywhere somebody may make a lot of money, but they're not so much financially literate, or maybe they don't know that deep into finances, and then they turn their money over to someone and they end up getting their money stolen. I just seen Fat Joe on, it was a Breakfast Club or some interview where he's talking about his accountants, and he was at a big accounting firm, like it was like BDO or something. His accountant stole like a couple $1,000,000 from him. So I know Tim Duncan got some money stolen from him. There was a lot of people in the NBA and in all major sports and in entertainment have gotten money ripped off. So that is a big deal. But old Larry's not talking about getting ripped off. He's talking about these people that lived lavish and luxurious lifestyles and then ran out of money. NBA legend Larry Bird has a different way of managing his money, and unlike many players that lived a luxurious lifestyle, he didn't change that much despite being one of the best paid players during his time. Larry Legend came from a humble background and kept the same mindset after becoming one of the most influential players in NBA despite signing big contracts and lucrative sponsorship deals. Bird stayed modest even throughout his NBA career. In the book, Bird Watching, we can get a better insight into Bird's outlook on finances and why he always tried to stay as humble as possible and never led a lavish lifestyle, unlike some of his teammates. Bird came from a hardworking family where everything was earned and not given, which is why Bird had a mindset that working hard is the only way to lead to a prosperous life. I you know I didn't disagree with that. I don't know what it is about Larry Bird, but there's a lot of hardworking people that don't know anything about money and they're broke, right? There's a lot of hardworking people that are broke. So somewhere along the way, it was more than him coming from a hardworking background. You see what I'm saying? There's like I said, there's hardworking families, hardworking men and women that work hard, but they don't know anything about money and they're broke, or maybe they work hard and they don't make a lot of money. But so I get what they're trying to say, but you can't just chalk it up to coming from a hardworking family, because that would mean anybody that's hardworking would be able to save their money and control their money and budget and use personal finance techniques. But that's not the case at all. There's many hardworking people that don't control their budget, that don't save well, that don't invest, and they're broke. He always envisioned himself working even after his professional basketball career was over and not relying on the money he earned during that period. And Larry says, even when I was at the top of my game, we didn't drive a Mercedes or live in $1 million homes, things like that. When I first started playing, we bought a nice little house in the French Lick West Baden area. It cost $125,000. We didn't run out and spend all our money because we knew there would be a time when it was over, and I wanted to have options on what we could do with our future. I never thought about retiring. I just assumed I would always work, right? And that's a pretty good way to look at it. Now, I will say he was also blessed with NBA skills, so it's a lot easier to save a whole bunch of money when you're making $1 million a year. Not that I'm not getting on him, I'm not hating on him, but if you're making 35K a year, you don't have any money to save, right? You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, you could have a work ethic, a good hardworking family ethic, and all that, but if you can't make enough money to get some gap between how much you have to spend and how much you're bringing in, so you can save, then none of this matters, right? He refused to give money to players that went bankrupt. During his career, Bird had several encounters with players that made less than him but led an expensive lifestyle that soon ruined their lives and the lives of their families, and they couldn't pay their bills anymore. Bird often advised them to save money and prepare for life after their career is over, but most of them never listened, and some even made fun of Bird and his way of thinking and handling his finances. Soon enough, some of them reached out to him to borrow some money, and Bird almost always declined because he tried to warn them in the first place about what would happen if they didn't think about the consequences of living a somewhat modest lifestyle. Yeah, and the reason Bird was probably telling them, he probably didn't care whether they lived a modest lifestyle or not. He's probably just telling them just so later on he'd be like, nah, I told you because you weren't listening, but whatever. And he didn't have to feel bad saying no, but good on him, right? So I'm not giving nobody money, especially if you've come through a lot of money and you've been wasting it, and I'm watching you wasting it, and then you going to come, especially you fix your mouth to make fun of me, and then you going to come through here some years later talking about, hey, man, I'm down on my... Hey, you better get out of my face with that junk, cuz you missed me with that. Just like Larry Legend said, you missed me with that. Some of the guys who made far less than me bought $700,000 homes and Rolex watches and the big luxury cars. And I used to tell them, you're crazy. You should be saving your money. They just laugh and make jokes about me stashing my money away. But I could see what they were doing. They were throwing away their future. So many of them were living for today and not even stopping for a minute to think about 10 years down the road when their playing careers were over and the money stopped pouring in. And by the time they realized what I was telling them was true, it was too late. I can't tell you how many ex-teammates have asked me for money. It's heartbreaking for me to say no, but I do because I warned them and I told them to save. Oh my God. I give credit to Larry, but it ain't heartbreaking. You know, it's not heartbreaking to say no. Like, nah, because I tried to tell you and you was hard-headed, especially if you was making fun of me. I'm not heartbroken at all. In fact, I'm laughing in the back of my mind. That's what you get, sucker. Shouldn't have been talking all that noise. You should have been all this yapping. You should have done some more listening to Larry Legend. It's too bad. It's too bad how many athletes and entertainers get money that just flows through their hands and they don't think enough to put some aside for later. And they end up out of their luck going to beg Larry Legend for money. And he's like, nah. I would have been like, nah, too. Making the right business decision off the court. Throughout the 13-year-long NBA career, Bird made approximately $24 million just from his contract with the Boston Celtics. Obviously, he made money on the side from all the endorsement deals, but back in the 80s, they weren't as lucrative as they are today. But still, it was a solid amount considering he was one of the most popular athletes back in the day. This writer, I'm not too keen of his writing style. According to various sources, Bird's net worth today is a little bit over $70 million, which is proof he made the right financial decisions in his life and worked hard well after his legendary NBA career was over. NBA players filing for bankruptcy a few years after their careers are over is a big problem. A problem for whom? Society? I don't think anybody cares. It's a problem for them, but I don't think anybody else cares. And countless similar stories resurfaced over the years. That is the main reason why the NBA implemented programs where they educated young players on how to take better care of their money. We are now seeing players investing their money in various businesses, which is a great way to diversify their portfolio and get some relevant business experience and have a backup that can generate income when their careers are over. Well, you know, that's an interesting take and it's good and all, but another thing that they don't mention in this article, a lot of these players lose money trying to invest in businesses, invest in real estate, direct invest in all kinds of schemes, right? And some of these business people that set up these businesses, they're very smart, so they'll get the money and they'll use it in a way that, well, the business just collapsed. Oh, well, we got to write it off and the money's gone. So I would suggest these players with a lot of money are targets and they're not business savvy. Well, most of them are not business savvy. They're ball players. They're not businessmen and lawyers and accountants. So, from my perspective, the bulk of your money should be in something simple that you understand. Something simple. Fancy cars, big houses, and diamonds and expensive clothes are nice things to have, but they don't provide any additional value or happiness, which is something Larry Legend figured out early in his life. Unlike many NBA players who wasted immense amounts of money chasing material things, investing in yourself and ideas that can generate profit is the best way to go. while also thinking about your future and what it might look like after your professional career is finally over, no matter what amount of money you have in your bank account. Wait, I'll wrap it up. Who's this guy? Will Star Jackie. Okay, Will. So yeah, pretty good article. I would have written it a little bit differently, but it goes to show it's not just people that make a lot of money can still be financially illiterate. Obviously, if somebody's telling you to save and you're literally making fun of them, it's one thing for you to be like, nah, I'm not gonna save. I'm just gonna spend my money. But it's a whole nother for you to be making fun of this cat that's trying to tell you to save. I would not. I would have been homeless. I would never call that dude back. If I made fun of you for saving your money and then I ended up broke, ain't no way on God's green earth I'm calling you to ask you for money. Ain't no way at all. You'd be the last person. Nope. Absolutely not. I'd be like, oh man, I used to make fun of Larry for saving his money. Ain't no way I'm calling that dude. Ain't no way. But anyways, what do you think? Get it in the comments. Hey, if you made it this far in the video, give me a like, possibly even a subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but it will help me out immensely. Appreciate it. Peace.